Today I want to speak to you about your unrecognized sales force. This is everyone that works for you that doesn't see themselves as a salesperson. Well, I want to tell you something. Everybody is a salesperson. Here's a little story. Many years ago, I belonged to an organization called the Professional Speakers Association of the UK, and we were looking for a new venue for our convention. We spent £50,000 to £100,000, and we found a hotel in Birmingham. So there's 5 of us on the committee. We walk into the hotel. It feels good. We think this is the place. We go and sit in the lounge, and we want to order some coffee, and we look over to the bar. There's a waiter and a waitress, and they've just come back from a course that has taught them if you don't make eye contact with your customer, you don't have to serve them. Have you ever come across those? Eventually I'm shouting, oi, oi, and this is what happens. Young waiter comes up to me and he says, what? Well, I was shocked. I said, could we get some coffee, please? Mumbles and off he goes. Lunchtime we go through the same thing. And I said, I'd like to order some lunch, please. And we're dressed the way I'm dressed now. And he looks me up and down and he says, I want you to pay cash. I said, why? He said, last week we had some people dressed fancy like you and they ran away without paying cash. Now, guess where we didn't have our conference? You know what? It's not the fault of those 2 salespeople. It's the fault of the person who owns that hotel. They've just lost £100,000. That's just us. How many more people? He's recruited the wrong kind of people. They've got no training. They had no management. And they're losing an absolute fortune. How well do we know our salespeople, our unrecognized sales force? Here's a different story. I do a lot of work in Dubai. I'm out there 3-4 times a year speaking and training, and I know all of the hotels. They're all 5-star, they're all superb. A couple of years ago, I was going to take my wife on a holiday there, and I phoned a friend of mine, and I said, please book me into this hotel. He said, no, go to Le Royal Meridian. I said, why? He says, because you'll see the unrecognized sales force in action. So I booked it, and I booked on a bed and breakfast basis only. I don't like hotel food. I said to my wife, we'll take £100 a night, and we'll go to the different restaurants, great restaurants all over Dubai. Anyway, we arrived there, and I've got to tell you, I do a lot of work in the hospitality and with hotels, and most times I'll walk into a hotel and I'll be standing at reception for 5 minutes until they're ready to serve me. Immediately, a young lady came out from behind the counter, took us into the lounge. Would you like some orange juice? Would you like some champagne? Made us feel good. She looked down and she said, I see you booked on a bed and breakfast basis only. We've got 8 restaurants in the hotel. They're all incredible. Because it's your first time here, all of your evening meals free. Now, I've got to tell you, there's not many words that motivate me, but free is way up there. I love that word. I said to my wife, this is great. That night we go down to the Italian restaurant. I said to the waiter, what is the steakhouse like? Oh, the steak melts in your mouth. I said to my wife, that's it. We're not moving out of this hotel. Every night we'll go to a different restaurant. The £100 we were going to go and spend, we'll now buy the best wines. We'll buy some liqueurs. Where does a hotel make their biggest profit? On the booze. Next morning I'm down at the swimming pool. I talk to everybody. There's a guy lying next to me. I said, you know how lucky I am. Booked on bed and breakfast basis. All my evening meals free. What do you think of that? He says, me too. And I just realized what an incredible strategy they brought in. Under-promising, over-delivering. I want to tell you, the service was wonderful. Within 2 hours, everybody knew our names. I've never seen this before. It was scary. At the end of it, I wanted to meet the person that built up this brilliant, unrecognized sales force. Her name is Pam Wilby, and I wrote about her in my book called Walking with Tigers, Success Secrets of the World's Top Business Leaders. And she spent an hour with me, 32-year-old lady from Surrey that had gone and taken over this hotel that was at the bottom of the Meridian Group. When we were there, it was #1. And she just shared some of the strategies. And these were some of the things she said to me, is make an incredible first impression. When people walk into that hotel, that first impression is fantastic. When somebody phones, the way they answer the phone, the enthusiasm has got to be there. She says we've got to be customer-focused rather than task-focused. Somebody walks down the passageway, they see the chambermaid stops working, smiles, looks them in the eye, Good morning, Mr. Smith. How are you doing this morning? Good morning, Mrs. Jones. How are you doing this morning? Got to be customer rather than task focused. She also said we have a buddy system. Everybody that joins us is assigned a buddy for the first 3 months and brings them into that whole service excellence thing. She says, you know, we also don't have customer service because customer service is really bandied around. What we have is an excellence program. Every one of our staff buys into excellence. Here's another thing. At the end of each year, she has her Oscar Awards evening. The whole staff, 800 people, get dressed up. They have a big band, and it's like the Oscar Awards. And the waiter of the year is so-and-so. I just want to thank my mother and my father for sending me to Dubai. Everybody gets recognition. They have fun days. Everybody's having fun. She says most people spend so much of their life at work. If they're not enjoying what they're doing, I don't want them working for me. Well, I learned a lot from that young lady, 32 years old. Another experience I had, I do a lot of work in Kuala Lumpur. And somebody said, why don't you try the Traders Hotel? Good business hotel. I stayed there. And at the end of it, the day before I was leaving, there was a little note pushed under my door. It was a handwritten note by the room cleaner. Dear Mr. Furness, Frank, it has been my pleasure to look after your room. We are so sad that you're going away, and we really look forward to seeing you in the future again. Signed, Will, your room cleaner. I mean, this is a room cleaner who had actually taken the time to find out who was leaving and then hand wrote that note. I want to tell you, I went and I found this guy and I gave him a big tip. He's most probably one of the richest room cleaners, room attendants in the hospitality industry. But this is really my examples of the unrecognized sales force. This is your accounts clerk. This is your chemist. This is everybody that doesn't see themselves as a salesperson. Maybe they don't like the word sales. Bring in relationship marketer. But every one of them has a huge influence on all of your people and the success of your organization.